Welcome back to the Recovery Tapes for episode number 37. My name's Gary and I'm your host. And today we have not a normal story, a story from a man who's pushed through a few adversities in his life. And that's the reason why I want to have him on the podcast and have him share his story with everybody today so that people can hear the truth about what it is for life. Sometimes we have plans and we have dreams, and sometimes things don't go our way. One of the most important things that I've learned is that we continue to push through these adversities and come out the other side. So before I just keep talking shit, man, can you please introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, bro. Thanks for having me, bro. I appreciate it. As you know, my name's Ivy. Where do I begin? I've had many ups and many downs, bro. And I guess, when I was younger, bro, it was a normal life. Do you know what I mean? It's not that I didn't go without. I wasn't on the streets. I wasn't, nothing like that. I got raised in a good family. I got raised in a good home. Both mom and dad together, both have good jobs. Like, do you know what I mean? Strict family, European, Italian, things like that, bro. But, I grew up playing sports, which was obviously my passion and my drive. And that was my life, bro, as a kid. I dedicated everything to sport. It was honestly like, I don't know. It was just that thing. Being a kid was like the thing that I woke up, I loved to do. It was like my games, my training, waking up on the weekends. Like I fucking loved it, bro. That was my thing. And I played soccer and basketball for many years. And then obviously when I got older, I was good at both, but I had the potential to be better at basketball. So I chose that over soccer because I was getting to that point where I was like 14, where it's like, make a decision what you're going to do because you can't keep doing both. Like it's hard. You're doing like double training sessions on everything. Every weekend is like a game of soccer, a game of basketball. Like it's just so much. So I got to that point where I got a little bit older. I had to make that decision and I chose basketball because my athletic ability could be more impactful in that game than soccer. So I chose that. And yeah, bro, it was a good choice. I don't regret it. Played over in America in like tournaments, high school tournaments, like almost like what's the word? They do like student exchanges and that. It's like that. Went over there, see how they lived with them, went to the schools, went to colleges, like did everything they did. And then we also like play and trade with them. Had like an Australian team go over there. I played with them in a tournament. Like, yeah, done heaps, bro. And I just loved it, bro. It was just my thing. School wasn't the best. I'm not gonna say I was a troubled kid. I wasn't violent, but I struggled. I struggled a lot academically, you know what I mean? So the sport is what carried me through school and things like that. Went to, private college for sport basically, wasn't there for academics. I was always on, weekend detention, Saturday detention, afternoon detention. Like, bro, for the first like 4 or 5 years, I was on them every day nearly. Like, got to the point where I basically forged the letters because every time you got in trouble, every time you got a homework, every time you didn't do anything, you'd always get a letter sent home. Parents have to sign it, know what's going on, get a detention. I just got to the point where I just started forging all the letters because I'm just like, I'm over it. You know what I mean? Like I'm just over it. Getting in trouble all the time. I was just over it. And then I was just getting caught because then they got to the point where they call them because they knew I forged every single one. So they just call them every afternoon, like, hey, your son's got a detention, blah, blah, blah. So I can't get out of it anymore. Like I'm just screwed. So I was pretty hectic with that, bro, with school. It's just always in trouble, bro. It's tough. Then you build resentment to your parents, even though, being older now, I'm 33, looking back at it now, like, your parents are just trying to do good for you, discipline you, all that. But when you're in that heat of the moment, when you're younger and stuff, you think you're just getting flogged. You know what I mean? It's just discipline. Just getting absolutely flogged. So you start to resent. You do. I started to resent my parents because it wasn't just here and there. It was every fucking day. I'm getting flogged, but because of my behaviors, because of my choices, because of what I'm doing. But you don't see it then and there. You're just like, I'm getting fucking flogged. You know what I mean? And then that builds, shitty ass relationship with you and your family. But at that given time, you don't see it like that. You just think, I'm in trouble. I'm always in trouble, doing the wrong thing. And you just build a shitty ass relationship with your family. And that's basically what happened because then I was always in trouble at school. Then not only that, sometimes dad was involved with my sports, get in trouble at sports because I'd still carry the father-son relationship into sport. I don't look at him any other way. He's not my coach. He's not this. I'm like, I'm still my dad. And I just got flogged at home, but now I'm going to basketball and it's like, fuck this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's hard. It was hard. You know what I mean? So it just built a really shitty ass relationship for a long time. And then, as time goes by, it still happens and you get older and you think you're smarter and it just doesn't ever pan out. You know what I mean? So I ruined the relationship with the family massively. And yeah, a lot of things happened, but I didn't talk to him for a long time. When I was, now I'm going to say maybe like 16, I basically left the home and I just said, I've had enough. Like this isn't good for anyone. This isn't good for me. I've just had enough. Stopped talking to him for a long time, 5, 6 years or something like that. And in that time, or before that, I should say, I had a knee injury playing basketball, which is what ended it all. I was in the middle of a game. I went up for a dunk and I landed and my knee snapped, completely snapped. You could hear it. The guys next to me heard it. Everyone heard it. It just sounded like a whip, like it just cracked. And I
Ow.
did, yeah, I snapped everything, bro. Snapped everything in my knee, meniscus, PCL, ACL, MCL. So the ligaments on the side of your leg, the main meniscus inside of your knee, ACL, that is the balancing. Like I did everything, tore my hamstring, it's done. And I had surgery and stuff like that, but I was just never the same. I had complications with the surgery, had to go back for resurgery, all that sort of stuff. So it was a bit of a mind fuck. It was a bit of a mind fuck, bro. And it left a sour taste in my mouth because it was hard to get past that as a kid. So I stopped watching sports because it pissed me off.
Shit, man.
I, yeah, I've always loved watching sports or the NBA or something, and I just stopped watching sport. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to know about it because I couldn't do it. I couldn't do anything. Do you know what I mean? The complications with the surgery, they basically said you can't do any rehab. You need to just walk and do nothing for a year. So it made me like lazy. It made me fucked. You know what I mean? I couldn't actually progress in any way. And it really put this like mental block in my brain, as in like I was really scared that I was going to hurt my knee running or squatting or picking something up or anything. I was really petrified. I was really scared that I was going to just snap or blow out. So it was really hard. And then, I didn't train. I didn't do nothing. I
I
just,
can I can I can relate to that so much, bro. So I had done my knee and they had to put 3 screws in it to hold it back
mm,
together. And even now to this day, so I'm 33, so we're the same age, right? Even now, dude, if I take off running at full speed, even going through my head, like I had a cast on for 6 weeks. You probably would have gone through the same thing. You take the cast off, you got one leg that's fucking skinny, the other leg's not skinny. Like it's just this crazy, chaotic roller coaster that it leaves like a mental trauma
yeah.
on you, doesn't it? And like, it's one of the reasons why I wanted to speak to you today because I feel like how open and honest you've been in the start of the podcast, man. I think it's really going to paint that picture for people to see that, like even like where you are now and what you see on your
Mm.
Instagram and stuff. How did you go from that feeling of being a teenager, of being like, I don't want to fucking do this anymore. This is bullshit. Like what happened next, dude? Let's start this story out.
Well, that's the thing, I can only see that now, but being as a kid, I could never understand. I didn't see any of that. It's only the last couple of years I've really actually pieced all the things together of why this happened, how this journey really evolved,
Mm.
which is pretty scary. But I guess how would you really know until the years go by and you really reflect and go back and put all the pieces together? So basically, like when that happened, I was lost. I was really lost because I never thought about having a job because I was never good with school. I knew for a fact I was never going to pass my year 12. I knew it was pointless me staying at school, but I stayed there because I didn't know what to do. It was like my security. It's like, stay here. You got a couple of years to fucking figure some shit out. Something's magically going to happen. But I knew like it was never going to be a study or a course or a fucking job or nothing because, bro, I was just wasn't doing anything. Do you know what I mean? I didn't pass. Well, I guess I passed year 10, but I didn't get good marks. You know what I mean? I know for a fact in year 12, like I basically went all the way to the HSC exam and I stood up in the exam and I walked out And the teachers were going off. They're like, how strict they are with the rules, like can't get up, do this. But I lost it. I lost my shit. I just stood up and they're like, what are you doing? I said, fuck this. Like, what do you mean? You can sit down, you're going to get this. I said, fuck this. I grabbed my shit and I went, called my dad and said, listen, I'm done. And it's pointless. We got exams the last couple of months. It's pointless. He said, all right, do whatever you need to do and I'll come pick you up. Picks me up. He goes, you're working here. So my dad had his own business. He goes, you're working here every single day. And
So it's sort
started
of like
work.
your option, your choice that you had was continue down a path that you knew wasn't really going anywhere, or go into another path, which is, I can assume, another. You probably didn't want to be working at your dad's business either at this point, did you?
Yeah, like I didn't know anything, you know what I mean? So then I just started, working there and, it was good, obviously first job, whatever, I just straight in and just learn the workforce, you know what I mean? And I did that. I did that for, a fair bit, but same thing, like it still a bit of tension because of the father-son relationship. Then now he's my boss. So, things do get escalated. Things are hard and I could never separate the both from work, from home and all that. It's just all one big thing. So it was pretty hard. And then obviously, I had a really big blowout event that happened at home. And then I just didn't talk to him for 5, 6 years. And then I quit work. I said, fuck this. I can't live at home. I can't separate coming to work. So I'm done. I left and that was that. And then I guess, you'd venture out doing your own thing, getting my own place, living by yourself, all that sort of stuff occurs. But being that young and losing all your stuff and you've got nothing figured out. And I'm not saying you're meant to have it figured out because you're not, but like you're legitimately lost. Like I was legitimately lost. Like there was no any concept. There was no idea of anything, no structure, no nothing. You just purely lost as a person. You don't know who you are. You don't know who, you don't believe in yourself. You don't trust yourself. You don't have the confidence in yourself. Like all those things. Like I was generally lost as a young man, and it was dangerous. Because of those events that happen, then you're looking for something to feel that, something to get that back in a sense. And I found that in recreational drugs. I found that in selling drugs because then it ties into being that center of attention, but then in a sense being accepted because it was like, I can be funny, I can be, I can go out and socialize and, get dinners and go out with girls and get the girls' attention. You're trying to be funny, you're trying to feel accepted. It made me feel good, and then everything else sort of just links up and joins, goes hand in hand, all those things. You want to feel accepted. You want other people to accept you for who, I guess who you're trying to be. Then you use recreational drugs. Then you feel like you're the man. It's just this vicious cycle, bro. You know what I mean?
So
And it
strange.
just
So
kept going.
yeah, man. So strangely enough for yourself, even though you had all of that going on at a young age of 14, sort of, choosing the sport, didn't really matter what was going on with your grades, so to speak, because you were
Mm.
filling that void with the being like a gun on the sporting field in more than
Yeah.
one way. And you're going over to America and you've just got all this stuff going on. And then how did you reflect on that when you were high those nights and stuff like that? Like walk us through that sort of where you were at this point.
Funny thing is, I didn't, bro. And that's what I was trying
Yeah.
to say. It's like only now I can all put all the pieces together of like, where did I go wrong? Why did these things happen? And it's only till
Mm.
now I can really see that's what was happening. That's what I was running away from. Do you know what I mean? Yes, obviously troubled household. Yes, obviously family relationships not there. But then everything you've ever worked for as a kid, just got taken away from you. And having teammates, having community, having support, having that training, that drive that got you up every day, the things that you're looking forward to got all taken away from you. And then the pressure of the world of trying to have everything figured out, of you need to have your grades, you need to have your schooling, you need to have, shit lined up. I didn't have it. So I was running away from all that feeling because I was generally lost as a kid or as a young man. And then, like I said, the drugs, the partying, the girls, the women, all that stuff makes you feel accepted, wanted, attention. It sort of tries to give you what you had with the sport, in a sense. It tries to, but it's not. And you don't know that. I only know that now. It tries to mimic that effect, but it's an illusion.
How, how bizarre, man. Like, just for the everyday Joe like me, I mean, I fucking love soccer, right? I'm a massive
Uh-huh.
soccer fan. And my dad's English, my cousins and my uncles and all that. Like, one of the dreams that I had as a kid was to be a Premier League player, probably
Mhm.
like thousands of other kids on this earth, right? And I tried really hard to get into the state teams, played, went to tryouts, training in the rain, bro. You know exactly where I'm going with this. Like it just doesn't stop. And
Mm.
I guess for me, hearing this, right, I would sort of think that a kid like yourself would just be happy in general, man. Just like, oh yeah, he's done this, he's gone to America, he's done this and done that. But what did it feel like when the doctors were so cold to you towards your dreams? Because I feel like from what you said, I feel like you might have
Mm.
had one or two doctors sort of just say like, oh, you got to wait a year or you got to do this and that, not understanding how painful that year would be to go through.
Mm. You know what? It's hard to say because I would have been a young kid. I wouldn't have thought about that. Do you know what I mean? I was just like,
Mm.
it's just a letdown. I know it was a letdown and it was tough. I did struggle with it because I was like, what am I going to do with gym? I can't run. I can't kick a ball. I can't run around. I can't do nothing. And that was hard. Yeah, that was the hard thing. And then having a fuck up a surgery again to try and fix it. They wanted to do plastic surgery and shit. And I said, fuck that. Just do what you need to do. And I'll just not do anything for ages. And then I'll work on it after. So that's what I did. And it was just, yeah, it was tough, bro. Do you know what I mean? It was tough. It makes you feel like a piece of shit or like a lazy shit or just like you're just incapable of doing shit like that, which you've done your whole life. You know what I mean? Which is hard.
Yeah, it would have been, man. It would have been really, really tough mentally to go through
Mm.
that at such a young age. So
Yeah.
what was your drug of choice, man?
So, drug of choice was MDMA. The first drug I ever touched was MDMA as well, but eventually it would have turned into cocaine and MDMA just as much. But I did, every day was the same thing, bro. We'd start with drinks, cocaine, MDMA. I'd mix them together. I'd mix them together and rack them together, and then I'd have um either joints or HTC pens and shit as well. But I'd have them every day, like just as a mix, as a concoction, bro.
I feel like it's a pretty standard concoction to create for someone our age. Like, I'm not smiling and
Mm.
laughing because it's a joke. It's sort of just like, for me, my
It's
drug
common.
was, it is, dude. Like, for me, my drug was speed, man. Like,
Yeah.
when I first was young, the first time I ever smoked a pipe, I just, fuck, bro. You just
Uh,
felt invincible. And the more I interview people, the more it does sort of come back to this common denominator of where you were saying, like, people have that baseline that they set for themselves, and then a big fucking hole gets dug off
Mhm.
that baseline. Eh?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's just wild. It's like wild, bro. Because for like a long time, I was always known as that guy going like, "No, he doesn't drink. He doesn't touch nothing. Like he's good. He doesn't go to
Mm,
party." You know what I mean? I was always that kid because I was always in my sport. You know what I mean? Like I never went to like 18th birthday parties. I didn't do any of that shit.
yeah, wow.
I was always that guy. Like, no, he doesn't do nothing. Like he just trains and plays sports. Like that's him. You know what I mean? I didn't do any of that stuff. I was always just no, 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 no. I was always like, I'm never going to do it in my life. And then it got offered to me, obviously, later down in the track in life, probably not subconsciously knowing, but being vulnerable at that point. And I was just like, what, fuck it. I just did it, bro. And then that was it. It was game over. Day one was game over. The first time I had it was at mine in my apartment with people with me. And they're like, just try it, try it, try it. Like you're in your house. It's all good. Doors are locked. Nothing can happen. We're here. Like nothing's going to happen. You're all right. We're here. Sweet. We're staying here till tomorrow. All good. I was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just do it. And I had some and I was just sweet, man, had mad time. I'm not saying that in a dumbass way, but I had a mad time. You know what I mean? And you know what MDMA does? It just, brings out the happiness and all that. And yeah, bro, it's straight after that, the next day when they left, message fucking the dealers, give me another ball. Got a ball by myself. Smacked that whole ball by myself. Second time I done it. Next day,
Ooh.
can I get another ball? Smacked it again. And I'm going to myself, I'm like, why am I feeling nothing but I'm fucked? It's first time, bro. Didn't understand anything. And I just kept doing that, bro. 5 years. Yeah, bro. I didn't stop.
Wow.
I just kept doing it. And then I started adding things and I started doing other shit. And then, yeah, it was
So,
wild, bro.
so do you blame your friends that were in the apartment with you that night, or do you see it as a decision that you made yourself?
Decision as I made of myself. I've never, ever in my life, ever thought about blaming it because they
Yeah,
didn't.
nice.
Just
Yeah.
because they offered, doesn't mean they, fucking tied me down and shoved it in my mouth. You know what I mean? I took it. And obviously, subconsciously, I must have been vulnerable. You know what I mean? At that point in my life, I broke. You know what I mean? I broke character and I took it. You know what I mean? So I've never ever blamed them. It's my choice, you know?
I asked
So,
that question. I asked that question not to trip you up or anything like that. I think it's important for the listeners to hear the honest answers, and thank you for being honest about it too.
mm,
Because, like, some people do say like, I was influenced by this, or, I was hanging around a bad crowd or whatever. But I feel like, especially with us reflecting back on our old lives as well, I think it's very important to be honest with yourself about where
mm,
it all come from. And I feel like, for you, what you just said, I mean, it's not easy to admit that, you weren't
mm,
in a good place mentally. It's not easy to admit that you had it once and went into a 5-year hole with it, man. So the listeners of the podcast, I mean, a lot of them are recovered addicts themselves, or they're
mm,
in recovery as well. And, I said to people this morning on TikTok when I did one of my videos, like, if you relapsed, don't kick yourself about it. You know what I mean? It's all a learning process of it. And I suppose for us, we're in that secondary learning phase where now we
mm.
can reflect back on what we did with a sober mind. And it's
Yeah.
all a part of this big, like, sort of, I don't know,
The
it's not
journey,
like
bro.
yeah, yeah. And like, that's one of the things that sort of got me. Like, I'm 8.5 years clean now. In September,
Wow.
it'll be 9 years. And I'm still learning stuff about myself now, dude. I'm still fucking reflecting on some things I did all these years ago. And
Yeah.
it's fucking You're right. It's crazy, isn't it?
It is, bro. And it's like, fuck, good on you, bro. Like, congratulations for coming up to 9 years.
Thank you.
And I'm the same. And I think not many people talk about this as well for like people that are, as far as long as doing me. I'm 5 years clean and sober. Yeah, 5 years
Nice.
clean and sober.
Congratulations.
Thanks, bro. Like you said, there's still things I'm still learning, but there's still things I'm still dealing with. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
mental side, PTSD. Obviously, this has contributed to other factors, but it still ties in with the drug use. I still struggle, mentally with some things. I still go see, my psychs and all that to help because it's a journey, it's a process. You know what I mean? Just because I'm sober doesn't mean I'm all good. You know what I mean? Like it's one part of it. The mental side that it still affects is like the deeper side. It still takes its toll. You know what I mean? That's only another phase of the journey and the recovery of it. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, man. I know exactly what you mean when you say that. And maybe for someone who doesn't 100% know, who's like early in their sort of recovery phase, could you just sort of elaborate on that a little bit more, please?
Well, obviously, for me, I can only talk from my story and what I've been through. With the abuse of the drugs, then the lifestyle that I lived, with selling drugs, I went to jail for selling drugs.
Yep.
It was, they were trying to, it was a big ordeal, got done by Raptor and whatnot, selling cocaine and shit like that. And, mix those two lifestyles together, it's fucking literally anything can happen. Mixing those two together, anything can happen. You can OD, you can kill people, you can kill yourself, you can get violent, guns, all that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's the possibilities are endless when you mix those things two together, right? And coming with that, then going to jail, then you've got things that you see, traumatic events, things that happen to you, all that sort of stuff, psychological stuff, emotional stuff, it's like emotional welfare as well. All those things, like it's not to be taken lightly. And I'm only just understanding some of these things now because it still affects me massively now. Do you know what I mean? I've been out of jail now for 5 years, same as I've been sober. When I went to jail, that's when I started not using. And ever since
Hmm.
then, I've stopped. So it's been 5 years. the mental side and like the PTSD, the traumatic events that happen, childhood, drugs, the jail, all that, it still affects me. Do you know what I mean? Paranoia, sometimes my sleeping. Some things I can't tell if it's real or not when I'm sleeping. And I wake up and I'm having panic attacks. I think there's people yelling at my door and I go check the door 100 times. I won't sleep. I pace up and down in the night. I can't
Yeah,
tell if it's
wow.
real or not. Yeah, I can't tell if it's real or not from what I hear. I can hear keys jingling, knocking on the door. Normally that's from the jail when they do their rounds at night and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Heaps of things. Do you know what I mean? So it still affects you, and it's still hard. Do you know what I mean?
Fucking
It's still
honest.
hard, on top of that. Yeah, and then on top of that, always, being on drugs and, that criminal life, it means you're always on alert. Well, you should be always on alert. You know what I mean? You're using drugs to, hype you up, especially the ones that I use, I wasn't using anything to, pull me down, any downers, except for, when I was using sleeping tabs and stuff. But most of it was always ups. So your nervous system is absolutely shot because you're always redlining, right? You're always redlining. And then you're in that lifestyle and you're always redlining. And that's all you're doing is just redlining. And over a period of time, you've done that for such a long time that it becomes numb.
Yeah, it also becomes like a base rate for your body as well, eh? Like your nervous system, your muscles in your body, like your brain, the way, even your breathing patterns, man. Like
Yeah.
you know this as well. Like you have certain uppers and stuff, and they completely
Yeah.
change the way you breathe, man. Like
Yeah.
you're either breathing fast or you're taking these long, deep, slow breaths. Like, so what jail did you go to, man?
So I went to Parkley, Bathurst, Silverwater, and Kempsey.
Phew, bro.
Yeah. So I was at those in Maximum.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, so, even in there, bro, like, it's a choice. You still get drugs in there, even in
Oh man.
Maximum, still get drugs in there. Guys were, shooting up, doing everything. It's all there for you. Do you know what I mean? It's, at the end of the day, it's still your choice. Do you know what I mean? It still always comes down to you and what you do. You know what I mean? And it's tough. It is tough. You know what I mean? Imagine if I think when you get in there and you make that decision to either go for it or don't, I think that's the big deal breaker. More so in there than outside. Because in there, it's like you're already doing it tough. You're already in a really, really tough position mentally, physically, very unstable environment, different people all the time, different emotions every single day. It's unpredictable, and then if you do decide to reuse in there, it's really hard to get out when you're in there. Do you know what I mean? When you're using it in there, it's really hard to get out of that, you
Man,
know?
I feel like that's the difference between people like me and you who are sitting here and having these conversations, and you'll know what I mean by this, to some of the other people that we would have in our old lives that could
Mm,
possibly still be going in and out of prison, like especially with the Suboxone
yeah.
and the way that they use that in there and all that sort of. It's very violent. It's very like very depressing. And they're only happy when there's drugs in there, and it's hard enough to be happy when you're fucking in there sober. So if you choose to use in there, it's kind of like this next wave of
Yeah.
trauma that you inflict on yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely, bro. Definitely. Yeah.
So
It's tough, bro. Stuff.
So you had that start out, man. So you're gone through the sports stuff. You've realized you sort of had your battle with addiction and everything. And you've landed yourself in jail for dealing and all that shit. So
Yeah.
how old are you at this point, man, when you get out of prison?
I'm pretty sure I was 30, bro. 29, 30.
Yeah.
No, actually. Or maybe a lot. Fuck. I don't remember.
It does happen like that, eh? There is a blur point in it all.
Yeah, it was because, like it's hard to remember a lot before you're always on gear.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah.
even on the times when I was, like, that whole time I'm on gear, it's like, bro, that whole life just flashed before your eyes. Like, I hardly
Yeah.
remember it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've had so many people reach out to me, Facebook, Instagram, "Hey, I just watched this or your podcast was that. You've done so much." And, like, I appreciate it. And they're like, "Oh, do you remember this?" I'm like, "No, I'm sorry. I don't remember you. I don't remember ever seeing you or meeting you. No idea." And they'll tell me everything. Like, we spent heaps of time together. And I'm like, "I'm sorry. I got nothing for you." Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Like, that's just fried from the from the gear, unfortunately. You know what I mean? Like, what can I do? It's hard. But so like basically, yeah, when I come out, well, look, so when I was in there, obviously, I made a decision. Well, before that, I got fucked up by the cops. I got absolutely fucking pummeled. I got put into a coma. I went to ICU because they thought they killed me. I
Oof.
got fucked up. Then ICU for a week, got released, put me straight into jail, and then that began. And then when I first went in, it was still like COVID rules and shit. You got to get isolated for 2 weeks before you can go into like the main wings and all that shit. So I went
Wow.
hospital wing. Yeah, went hospital wing because they saying like I was fucked up and obviously heaps of gear in my blood and that. Hospital for about, I think, a week and a half, then 2 weeks into isolation for the COVID. And then I go out into the main. And then basically, like when I went to the main was like the first time I got to see like how fucked up my face was. Even after like a month of being inside, my face was so fucked up.
All here, eh? Like all fucking
Fucked.
bro.
And then like knowing that I've already been in there for like a month and a bit, I've seen how fucked up my face. I was like, imagine what it looked like the day of or the day after.
Fuck,
And that
dude.
like sort of like it just started to hit me, bro. Like everything started to hit me. It's like I got instantly sober. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it just all come through, it just fucking hit me. And I'm like, right, what are we actually fucking doing in here? What are
Mm-hmm.
we doing? You don't know how long you're going to be. This could be fucking ages. This could be years. Whatever it is, what the fuck are you going to do in here? What are we going to do? Let's be productive. Let's fucking get your shit sorted. What are we doing? I was like, I got to eat good. I got to train good. Let's get back to this shit. Bro, I don't know. Something just fucking flipped and I just started training. And I was pissed weak, bro. I couldn't do shit. I couldn't do like 5 push-ups. Couldn't do nothing. But I was just like, I was just fucking determined, bro. You know what I mean? And that's all I did. Every single day I just showed up, fucking trained. I did whatever I could. Some sessions, bro, I lasted 5 minutes. But the boys are just like, bro, just come every day. Just do as much as you can. I promise you. And before you knew it, bro, I was just smashing it. You know what I mean? I was just smashing it, get out of jail. And I just kept that same mindset. So when I come out, I had to still do house arrest for another 14, 15 months with an ankle bracelet. So I couldn't leave the
Mm-hmm.
house.
Yeah.
So the same mindset still applied to me. I'm like, you're basically in jail at home. Wake up early, go outside, train the exact same fucking way, do the same shit. Nothing changes. And so that's what I did, bro. I was getting up at like 6 o'clock, going outside in fucking freezing cold, doing push-ups and burpees and shit in the yard, like in my backyard and shit. I just did the same shit. And just that mentality, bro. I don't know. I just drove it into myself. I got to be disciplined, look after myself, train, cold shower, get up, fucking just do the shit. That's it. And bro, it's just stuck with me ever since. Do you know what I mean? Like it's never been about I got to look good, you got to do this, do that. No, it's just like, bro, it feels good to do it. It gives me mental clarity. I feel good within myself, and it just gives me a reason. It gives me a purpose. Do you know what I mean? It gives me something to fucking keep working for, keep doing. You know what I mean?
I think now is the right time for us to transition the podcast into what we were just speaking of, like off
Okay.
camera. So to just briefly, like, because fuck, bro, when I saw your page on social media, I remember thinking to myself, like, this guy's done some fucking mental work, like, on himself, you know? And I guess that's where they say it takes one to know one. Because I remember watching
Mm,
like multiple of your reels and being like, this guy's thought. He's sat there and he's reflected and he's gone
yeah,
deep into his own head. So because you're an online coach, aren't you?
yeah, bro.
So how did that come about? What made you decide to do that?
Passion, bro. Passion for it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, when I first started, I was just talking about my journey, obviously the jobs and where
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been. Cause, I disappeared from social media for a long time and I just started talking about where I've been, what's happened. I was very honest, about my drug use and what's happened. And, a lot of people reached out, a lot of people that have known me for a long time of like, wow, like we didn't know, and I'm like, why would you know? How would you know? Do you know what I mean? I just disappeared. Unless you were in my life, you wouldn't really know. I just started talking about it, bro. And I was just being open, vulnerable, honest. And yeah, people obviously liked it and supported. And people started giving me suggestions about, hey, you should try and help people. You should try and, do keynote speaking and motivation talking and all that jazz. So I try to push for that. And I got a few contacts at a non-for-profit charity out in Blacktown in Mount Druitt out
Mm-hmm.
in Western Sydney here that help troubled kids that voluntarily come. They don't have to be there. They're not put in a program. They show up if they want help. And they could be alcohol, could be violent, could be young offenders, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds that are causing problems at school, cops, whatever. They
Yeah, yeah.
don't have to be there. They show up because they want help. And I ended up going there and I just started speaking to the kids and doing that stuff, you know what I mean? Just talking from the heart and telling them everything that I knew, and especially at their age as a kid and stuff. So that started documenting that. And I guess, obviously for me, fitness and health is a foundation for me. Do you know what I mean? It's the foundation for me to what helps me. It's got nothing to do with, oh, I want to be a bodybuilder. I want to be this. It's like just what helped me stay disciplined. It's what helped me stay in like my routine and structure. What's made me feel good physically and mentally. It's just a foundation. And so I started talking about that as well. Do you know what I mean? So that's how it really got about. And I just, people like, I can help people with what I know. And obviously, I worked a lot, like you said, on the inner work, the deep inner work, the mental side. I work a lot on that and learn so much. And I guess I just started talking about that as well. You know what I mean? My perspective of what I've learned, of how I got through these things, and the skills that I've learned through that process. And basically, that's what I teach. You know what I mean?
So important to have people like you in our community. Like just even hearing that you did that, and then also as well, there's young men out there choosing to go to
Yeah.
listen to people. Like it's fucking huge, eh? Like
Yeah.
that gets my fire burning, bro. That gets my fucking blood pumping. That does, because it's actually one of the things that I want to do in the next venture for myself. Is I want to have a crack at sort of guest speaking, or like
Yeah.
speaking in
Man.
front of people. Like I feel
Yeah.
like, I mean, you've got it. You can tell straight out. I mean, I've said this 1,000 times on the pod and I won't stop saying it because I'm fucking so proud of myself for being where I am, right? But I write articles for a prison newspaper,
Man.
and my third one just got approved, and like, man, fuck. I can't say anything about it too much. Obviously, you know what's going on there. But the fact that there is a group of men reading my story or observation that I've made about that first 6 to 12 months of me getting out of prison and where I actually made mistakes. Like,
Mhm.
we need to, it's another reason why I've done the podcast and got you to come on as well, is like, I don't feel like our society can get enough of this, eh?
That's right. Everyone has a story, right? Everyone has a unique story and a unique, thing or lessons people can learn to help them through their journey as well. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Just because, you're going to jail, I going to jail, oh, it's just another jail story. Yeah, okay, it's a jail story, but each one of us have gone through different transitions and different, lessons that and skills during that process that will help someone else.
Fucking oath, bro. 100%, man. Like, I had all these questions set out, right? And I've just free flowed the conversation with you, and I feel like it's gone so much better. So, like, man, this has just got me excited this bit. Like, how did you go when you went home and you sort of was reflecting on the fact that you was in a prison cell, right? And now all of a sudden you're speaking to these young men. Like, how did that make you feel, bro?
Bro, it's you know, I look at it like this, right? So when I was, in that old life, you have tunnel vision. You're selfish.
Hmm.
I only gave a fuck about me, right? I only gave a fuck about me and the people that are around me and the shit that we're doing. We didn't care about anything else, nor did we really think the world was there. You know what I mean? It was non-existent. We're in our own fucking world. We did whatever we wanted. You know what I mean? And I reflect back on it because I look at someone like me that never touched drugs and then got addicted to it. But I could have made someone addicted to drugs because I was just handing it out like anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
I was taking, I was just putting that onto other people. Do you know what I mean? How do I know that I didn't turn someone else into an addict? I wouldn't. You know what I mean? But I could have potentially made someone's life just like mine or worse. You know what I mean? So I now look at it like to be of service to people, to help them is probably like the greatest thing you could possibly do. And it's the best feeling that I cannot describe.
Fuck yeah.
Then, you know what I mean? Being of service to people, helping them in really vulnerable states, places, just being able to change their life, whether that is a life changing thing for other people or not, but it changes their life. It's,
Yep.
bro, you can't beat it. You can't beat it. You know what I mean? You can't beat it.
Man, it's like, I feel like a lot of people could have gone down the path of like utilizing that to make money and stuff. But that's another reason why I have respect for you too, is like you've created another path within this to sort of keep yourself afloat, business, financial, but then you're still offering this help to people and speaking and stuff, even like we are now. And it's like
Yeah.
you can really see that you're not in it for the money or for anything. Like you just genuinely fucking want to help people.
Yeah, right, like, people will say, at the end of the day, it's like, we all need money to survive, pay our bills, food on the table, all that. Like, sweet. But obviously, if you're good at what you do, if you're passionate at what you do you know what I mean? Yes, you should be rewarded in a sense. You know what I mean? You get paid for it. But
Yeah.
if you're just there like ripping people off, you're not providing a good service, you're not being honest, like that's the difference. You know what I mean? If
Hmm.
I think that's that's a big thing. But I love this, bro. Do you know what I mean? I love this. I love helping people. I love health and fitness. I love changing people's lives. I love teaching people what I know and seeing them implement it and going, fuck, like you taught me this and I've been doing it and it's helped so much. You know what I mean? It's the best thing. That's the best thing. You know what I mean? So like, why not be good at what you do, help them and also get rewarded in that sense. You know what I mean? So that's another thing. I've always been, I guess, let's just say an entrepreneur, so to speak. I've learned a
Yeah.
lot in my life. And yeah, but it's true, right? Like all jokes aside, like being from the street, some of the most successful people have come from the street. Most successful business people have been addicts. And it teaches you things that people don't understand. Do you know what I mean? The way our brain works, the way that we work, the way that we look at problems and solve them and things like that, it's different. And that's why there's so many famous entrepreneurs that struggle or struggled with addiction and now are multi-billionaires. You know what I mean? I've always been good with business, so to speak, entrepreneurship. And, why not somehow create and package that into something that I generally love to do and, make it into a business where I can still, be a service to people and that be my job. You know what I mean? So I've been lucky enough to create that. In the first 10 months of my business, I already hit six figures
Fuck yeah.
just, you know, just through the love and passion of doing it. You know what I mean? Like I've made more money doing this than back in that old life.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? And you're doing it through such a good place of, good intent, goodwill, being a service of people. It just shows you on paper that like that's the reward. Do you know what I mean?
And who would ever have thought
Cool.
as well, like when you were sitting in that hospital bed, just woken up from a coma, man, like who would have ever fucking thought that you'd be, even just sitting chatting to me on the other side of the country, man? Like just, it's what we were saying before, the whole roller coaster of what you do and this addiction recovery thing, and then the whole business side of it that comes out the other end. Like, how do people find you so they can, if they want to sign up or they want to just even ask you a question, man? How do people find you, bro?
Yeah, bro. Everyone can find me on Facebook and Instagram, which is Ivy Sardi, YouTube as well. But yeah, it's not hard to find me with that name. But yeah, anyone can message me, pick my brain about recovery, anything like that, bro. Wisdom, whatever. It's more than happy to help anyone, bro. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of it.
I feel like I'll be talking to you a little bit more after this, man. Like I don't just want to make it a fucking just a podcast and then a cut off. Like I don't know. I'm trying to do that thing where it's sort of like, how they say, like you hang around the 5 millionaires, you become the sixth. I'm hell trying to surround myself and everything with, like, I've been speaking to a lot of coaches lately. I've been doing a lot of
Yeah.
interviews with coaches and a lot of people who are sort of helping other people on these paths and that. And it's something that's definitely piqued my interest for what
Mm.
I want to do in the future and that. But I feel like you have to have that lived experience to actually sort of do what you were saying before, about sort of enjoying it and having it be the full package rather than just like taking someone's money and telling them what to do, so to speak.
100%, bro. Like you think about it, like even with you, bro, and your podcast, right? People are going to be more inclined to come on your podcast because you've been through it. You've been through lived experience. You can actually relate and connect and understand their position, and they can understand your position. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Sometimes it's hard for me to jump on a podcast. It would probably be the same for you. For you to jump on someone else's podcast that they like your story, but they got no idea about addiction.
Yeah.
They got
Yeah.
they don't understand it. You know what I mean? It's not going to be. I guess the context, the energy, the conversation probably won't be as good when you and me can totally understand exactly what each other is talking about and being through that. Do you know what I mean? So it's no different than, like you said, you want to hang around, your 5 people of millionaires. It's no different in the context of, even in the addiction world. It's like, at the end of the day, you are a byproduct of your environment, and it's only a matter of time until you become that product, whether it's a negative space or a positive space.
Fuck, that was powerful, bro.
But that's the biggest thing I've seen through my journey in the negative space. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's only so long I was hanging around people that did drugs, sold drugs in the crime world. It's only a matter of time. That time is, you're never going to know. But if you continue to stay there, it's only a matter of time. You're a sponge. You're going to suck everything up. What you hear, what you see, what you smell, what you see on your phone continuously is environment. The more you suck that up, you will become that product. It's only a matter of time. The time is the only variable. It's
I reckon
guaranteed you will. It's guaranteed.
I reckon for people listening as well, like just off the back of what you were saying, right? For all the guys
Yeah.
out there that are getting up and they've been clean for 2 or 3 weeks, even the girls that could be listening too, they're going to the gym, like you're going to be that fucking jack cunt in the corner soon. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Soon it's going to happen for you, bro. It's going to kick. Your brain is going to change. Like it takes a long time, as you would know as well, to come out of the chemistry side of your head,
Yeah.
sort of resetting and doing that brain flip where you sort of start to feel confident. You take your power back yourself, so to speak. And once you
Yeah.
do that, you see other people reacting to you differently because you've got that confidence, don't you? So I
Yeah.
feel like what you just said was massive, dude. Because like, I mean, fuck, man. Even if one person listens to this and goes like, "Holy shit, man!" Like the guy said that. Like that's exactly where I'm at. Like our jobs are done for today. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. But like going off the back of what you just said, right? Even if you're only 2, 3 weeks starting again, it's all good. But the thing that you got to understand is those wins that you continually to keep doing, those 2, 3 weeks where you're winning and you're winning and you're winning, that is how you build trust within yourself. You continually putting in those reps, visually seeing it, visually acknowledging those reps that you're going to the gym, you're waking up, you're making your bed, you're going to work. They're wins. And you need to understand those little wins. Even if you fuck up, that's okay. It's expected. No one lives in a perfect world. We don't live in a perfect life. We fuck up.
Yeah.
But those little wins that you build every single day is what compounds over the year. If you win the days, you win the weeks, you win the weeks, you win the months, you win the months, you win the year. You're still going to have shit days in between. But I guarantee you those good days will outweigh the bad. That's all it is.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. That
And you
was.
have to look at it like that. Because when you look at it like that, then you go, fuck, I had a mad week. Yeah, I had 2 shit days, but I won 4 days. That's a win.
It's. I've
Then you do the next week.
Man, I recently seen from someone, I won't drop his name because he's actually someone I want to get on the podcast, so I don't want to say
Mhm.
anything. But he has a calendar, right? And for every
Yeah.
day that he wins, he puts a W on the calendar. And then if he
Yeah.
loses, he just puts an L. And like, it's so powerful, bro. Like, it's so
Yeah.
powerful just to be that honest with yourself on the calendar. Like, every day you're coming back and you're like, there was this part of it too where there was 4 days in a row that were all losses. And then you see the
Yeah.
W after that. And then there's like fucking 20 W's after the 4 losses. And I feel like it's so powerful, eh?
Yeah. So I do the same thing, right? So on my
Mm.
phone, right? On my phone, I have on my home screen, and this is all strategic, right? So on my home screen, I set up my notes app. It's a big block and you can see it, right? And I put my list in there of my non-negotiables, and I put a green tick next to everything I do every single day. And if I fuck it up, put a cross. So I see this every single day. So it's a reminder, and it's on my home screen. It's impossible for me to avoid it. It's just about being aware. And the other thing with that calendar too is what I get my guys do. It doesn't matter if you make a cross. The goal is not to get 2 crosses next to each other. I don't give a fuck if you win the day, bad day, win the day, bad day, win the day, treat it like a game. I just don't want
Yeah.
to get 2, 3 crosses in a row because that's where we start to lose and spiral. That's the big problem.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes. Right. So, that's a little another tool, those big fucking calendars that you would have seen as a kid on the back of the toilet. Fuck, go buy one. Go buy one and put it on your
Yeah.
fridge.
Yeah. Fucking
Right?
oath.
Every single day that you have a good day, set your things out that you want to do and achieve. I want to go to work. I want to wake up on time. I want to fucking go for a walk, whatever it is. Doesn't have to be anything like that, but whatever you actually want to achieve in that day, write it out, tick them if you did it, cross it if you didn't. And then overall, if you got more wins, you won the day, right? The goal is just don't get 2 crosses of the days in a row. That's all you got to do.
I think that's a challenge we can set for the listeners. If you're listening and you want to try and better yourself or do a challenge, just try it from it doesn't have to be at
Literally.
the start of the month, man. Just start tomorrow. Like, just
Oh, yeah,
do that
just
shit.
start. Because what that does is when you see that calendar over the week and then 2 weeks and then you go a month, it will show you, you're like, fuck, you know what? Like I set out and yeah, okay, I've had some bad days and I missed some things, but fuck, I won most of that days. I won the month. You know what I mean? When you visually see that, that is how you build your self-trust within yourself. That's how you start building your confidence. That's how you start building that inner trust between you and yourself.
Mhm.
So you don't fucking keep breaking your promises. You don't keep letting yourself down. That's how you physically start to actually build that relationship with yourself going, fuck, I can do this shit. I can.
Fuck yeah.
That's how it starts.
Fucking
Yeah.
you heard it here first, people. You heard it here first. That was killer, man. Need to get that shit on a t-shirt.
Yeah, but they're just some little things that I've learned, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like from reading books, from just everything I've learned. Like they're just the little tricks and skills that you can implement until things become automatic, until things are like on routine. Like you don't have to do those, but that's where you start. Just little things like that.
I mean, for me, dude, like one thing of what you said, right? I started doing a trade when my daughter was born, right? And the trade I do is a waterproofer. It's not
Yeah,
easy, man. It's not easy, bro. Like I fucking waterproof everything. Rooftops, showers, balconies, faces of buildings, fucking you name it, right? And when I started out, the people that taught me how to do my trade, they made me scrape lumps off floors for 6 months straight. Like I wasn't allowed
yeah,
to pick up any of the machinery, any of the stuff, right? And now I've been doing it for 6 years at the end of this year, supporting my family comfortably without going over the top too much, carrying on. I am leading a team of people. I'm handling some fucking big contracts in the city, man. Like we're working on the buildings these are not fucking nobodies in Perth. These are some of
yeah,
the biggest fucking builders going. And I get to cruise in there every fucking day, shake hands with everybody, la la la. And what I do now as a base rate at work is more than the other people that are there. And I accredit that to the guy that made me scrape floors for fucking 6 months.
yeah,
Because it's exactly like what you just said. I have that trust and understanding within myself that I know I can get it done. And I remember getting up and being like, why the fuck am I going here, man? I'm gonna fucking scrape floors again, man. Like, fuck this shit. And like now here I am, going on to my next venture of myself where, hopefully I don't want to jinx myself, but man, hopefully we'll be working on some big contracts coming up soon and, maybe even get myself a ute or whatever it is. And like, I'm proud of myself for that, bro. And I can actually say that now and
yeah.
not feel weird by saying it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, bro. Absolutely. And that's just through the journey, through the process, through those little actions that you took that you can visually see and be like, fuck, I'm actually doing it. I'm doing what I said. I can see I'm capable of it. And that builds the trust, the confidence within yourself, bro. And it's all about building that relationship with yourself because, you think about every time you tell yourself like, I'm going to do something, you don't do it, even if it's a littlest thing, you are subconsciously breaking a promise to yourself. You're telling
Hmm.
yourself you're going to do something, you don't do it. And how many decisions do we make in a day? Like fucking thousands. Every time, I don't care how little it is. You doing that all the time subconsciously is programming you to like always battle with yourself, to fight with yourself, to lie to yourself, to not follow through with your word. As little as it is, it adds up.
Yeah, man. I mean, even just saying it now, I've fucking had a loss, bro. I was supposed to get a light. Like, so there's a light behind me. So when it goes dark outside, because
Yeah.
it's just gone dark and like, I didn't do it. But now instead of me kicking myself over the fact I didn't get the light, like I'm just being happy in the fact we just recorded a sick fucking hour. It's just ticked over an hour of us talking, man. So like, don't be hard on yourself, people. Don't fucking drag yourself through the mud or through the ringer. I mean, I don't have it figured out. I'm no fucking guru, but I am happy, bro.
Yeah.
That's one thing I can
Yeah.
say is I'm fucking happy.
That's You know what? That's the other thing. Like, yeah, I talk about, having discipline routines. And I'm not saying you don't have fun, because then when you're not doing that, you've lost the point of what we're actually trying to achieve. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Everything you do should still be something you, not someone else, something that you generally want to work towards. If your goal is to run your own business, if your goal is to be fit and healthy, if your goal is to, stop drug use and, have a better family or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like, sweet, that's your goal. You still need to enjoy the process and be happy doing what you want to do as a foundation. Because if you're not, then like, what are we doing? Do you know what I mean? You
Stop and smell the
still
roses.
need to obviously have, yeah, but you still need to, in that process, you still need to have some guidelines, some structure, some things to help you along the way. Absolutely. But you still need to enjoy the process. As soon as you stop enjoying the process, like you've lost yourself in that. Maybe you need to have a little step back, reflect on what's happening. Maybe you need to change things up. You still need to enjoy what you're doing.
Man, I'm going to send you a link for a podcast, right? I listened to Matthew McConaughey's story about his first acting gig that he landed.
Yeah.
And dude, bro, just like to hear the way that that cunt landed one of his biggest acting gigs in a bar at fucking
Yeah.
whatever o'clock at night, like, bro, just absolutely killing it, just like enjoying the process, going through it all. And then like after, when he reflected on it, he was like, fuck, I probably shouldn't have been nervous about that. But the guy was just enjoying every moment of it, man. It's fucking beautiful to listen to. Like, that's, yeah, I don't know if you listen to Modern Wisdom, but that podcast is fucking off its head, bro. There's over a
Yeah.
thousand
Okay.
episodes, and it's just some of the biggest people around, like, that have been on it. And yeah, I really rate and recommend that to people who are listening as well, because we've all got a story. But like you said just then, it's like the process that you hear someone else go through. Sometimes you realize, like, shit, man, these people worked so hard to get to where they are, and now they're there. They
Yeah.
didn't enjoy any of it, and they don't like where they are. Like,
Yeah, bro. Yeah, 100%, bro. Like I said it to heaps of my clients the other day too, is like, don't forget to still enjoy what you're doing. Because if you don't, you've lost yourself within the process.
yeah, nice, nice.
Do you know what I mean? You still need to enjoy what you're doing, whether doesn't matter what you do, you still need to enjoy what you're doing. And if you're doing that, sweet. Like I said, you can still be strict and have all these rules and guidelines and routines, sweet. But you start doing that and that takes over and you're not enjoying and not having fun and you've lost like the whole, why am I even doing this? You lost
Mm.
yourself in the process. You need to reflect back on your goals and why you're really doing this. You need to also have a reminder, because this modern world will distract us. You still need to remind yourself of why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, whatever you're trying to achieve, whatever you're trying to do, your goals. Some people set their goals out and then they fucking don't remind yourself why you're doing it or what was the whole reason. You need a reminder. We live in a fucking chaotic world. You need to remind yourself why you are doing these things, not because you're fucking forgetful or anything, just because we are so distracted by the modern world. You need to remember why you're doing it, your purpose, all those things.
Ivy, man, thank you so much for sitting down and taking the time to talk to me today. I've grown as a person. I feel like other people are going to grow listening to this, and it's something that I'm learning to do at the moment, is just enjoy the fact that I'm blessed and privileged enough to sit down and have conversations like this sort of once or twice a week with people, and yeah, share those stories on with other people, man. So thank you so much for your time today.
No, all good, bro. I appreciate you having me, bro. And, hopefully this helps people, bro, watching the episode.
Yeah, man, 100%. So for people who do want to find Ivy, there will be some collab reels and stuff anyway on the page. So if you are following the podcast and you do want to send the man a message and get a hold of the legend, you know where to find him on socials. So yeah, once again, bro, thank you so much for your time, bro, and have a nice night, eh?
Bro.
Thank you.